Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olive. I've got a short and sweet morning mobility class for you to follow along with today. We're going to be covering movement all the way from the head down to the ankles, so I hope you enjoy. In terms of equipment, you just need yourself and some space to move around in, and if you'd like to grab a pillow for some extra comfort, please feel free. We're going to start in a tall kneeling stance, so I will see you there. Starting in this tall kneeling position, we're going to come into some super simple shoulder rolls. So with the arms, let them rest down by your side. You're just going to bring the shoulders up to the ears, roll them back and down the body. So just taking your time, getting acquainted with the movement, just beginning nice and slow, really savoring each part of the rotation for your shoulder. Listening to any inevitable clicks that might come up. All right, now change directions, so this time rolling forwards. Again, just noticing how does it feel to change direction. Okay, and then letting yourself rest. Now just gonna roll into the right shoulder for a second, just roll it back. And then roll it forwards. Okay, let it rest. Now adjust the left shoulder, roll it back. And then roll it forwards. Okay, now seeing if we can do them at the same time, but they move at different paces. So right shoulder rolls and then the left shoulder rolls. So slight mismatch in terms of time, but what it means is that we can get a little bit more involvement through the thoracic spine. See if you can change direction, so shoulders travel forwards now. Again, allow this fluidity to come into the top of the spine. And slowing it right down and shake it out. Okay, so coming into more specific internal external rotation for the shoulder sockets, going to extend arms out to the side. If you start by flipping the right palm up to the ceiling, so when you flip it, we're looking at external rotation, so lifting through the armpit. The left hand is going to flip down, so now we're looking at internal rotation with the shoulder rolling towards the floor. Okay, and then we switch the two, and we switch. So we switch, and we switch. I'm just going to keep that going for a second. And what you might notice is that as I do this, I'm turning my head to look to the hand that is facing up to the ceiling. So if you start to mimic and find the same movement, look towards the hand that's facing up to the ceiling. Because we're now going to bring in more rotation. So as you look to the hand that's flipped up to the ceiling, you're going to twist your body round. Flip and twist. Flip and twist. So side on, I'm finding more rotation through my spine, almost reaching backwards. Again, just another way that we can bring more freedom into the movement. Okay, last one. And then bring it back to the center and give it a little shake. Okay, from here, take the hands down to your thighs. We're going to come into some lateral bends. So lateral meaning side to side. And we're just going to bend down to the right, then bend down to the left. So again, nice and controlled with this one. Just taking it nice and slow. If you would like, you could add in a reach with the top arm. So as I lean to one side, I'm reaching. Leaning to one side and reaching. Just to perhaps bring in a little bit more sensation for the top of the sides. Okay. And bring everything back to the middle. To kind of marry all those movements together, we're going to bring it into some T-spine rotations. I'm going to turn ever so slightly side on. For this, I like to take my arms across my chest, and we're going to think about keeping, just for now, the hips stuck in mud, so we can't really move below our belly button. So hands across our chest, you're going to let yourself roll forwards, and then twist and bend to the right, circle behind, Twist and bend to the left and circle forwards. So we're creating these 4 circular movements around the top of our spine, keeping the lower body as a base. And you can change direction as well. The reason why I said keep the hips still just for now, so that we can really focus on the top portion of our spine. And then if you want to bring the hips in, you can. You might find that you can bend a little bit further forwards, maybe leaning behind, just again exploring a little bit more fluidity. Okay, then bring it all the way back to the middle, and from here we're going to come to sit down on our ankles, or just sit however you want for now. So coming into some wrist rolls, clasping the hands nice and tight together, and just going through some gentle rolls. Don't know if you can hear, but my wrists are clicking loads. But we want quite a nice tight grip. Again, see if we can change direction. A little bit less coordinated. All right, and then take it into some full wave-like movements where we're really allowing the hands to extend and open and then also flex. And then changing direction as well. I always like to give time to hands and wrists because with daily life, with writing, with typing, with being on our phones, driving, it's always just nice to give them a little bit of care. All right, take them off, give them a little shake. Now from here, controlled circles into the hands. So you can have your fingers spread out, and we're just going to circle, reaching for the outside, then in. What's interesting again with this is that I notice quite big differences between my wrist mobility and my wrist control from right to left. Like I'm right-handed, I'm right side dominant, so the left doesn't have as much maneuverability. Okay, see if you can go the other way, from in to out. Beautiful. All right. And from here, just shake it out. Okay, the next one I really enjoy for a little bit of wrist prehab. This one's called an elbow push-up into Tarzan knuckles. It's kind of 2 movements that I've pressed together. So you're going to come into a tabletop and you're going to invert your hands. So you're going to flip them over so your palms are facing up towards you, your fingertips face in. For this, if you find it's way too uncomfortable to have your shoulders directly over the wrists, because it can feel quite intense, just bring the weight backwards into your toes, into your heels, so you sort of take the pressure out of it a little bit. So what we're going to do from here, the first part, the elbow push-up, we're going to bend the arms, bring the chest down towards the ground. Now as we push away, we're going to curl the fingers in and push up onto our knuckles. That's the Tarzan aspect. Then you uncurl, release, flat hand, press up, curl in and push. It's a really nice combination of strength for the hands in that inverted position, in more of a flexed stance. And we're also working into tendons as we uncurl and curl. Nice. Okay, let's just do a couple more because I'm really enjoying them. Beautiful. If you are super interested in just strengthening your hands, I have got a video from a couple weeks back where I covered loads of different hand drills. All right, and then sit back and shake it out. So to kind of just wrap up the hand section, extend your right hand in front of you and gently pull back on the fingertips. I love this one. I've expressed before in previous classes how I absolutely adore a head, hand and foot massage and would go for that over full body any day. Shake it off, fingertips now towards the ground, gently pull back. Just because, like, again, there's so much involvement and fatigue in my hands day to day with all my training. It just feels really good. All right, shake it out. Left hand side, again, gently pulling back. Okay, and then fingertips to the ground, gently pulling. Okay, lovely. And from there, shaking it out. So, staying in this position, we're going to take it into some child's pose rotations. So, sitting down onto the ankles, your knees can be quite wide. You can also pop a pillow underneath your butt. You're just going to extend the arms a little bit further away from you, so they're not close in and they're not super far, kind of coming to like a halfway point. So, from here, what we're going to do, let's take that left hand behind our left ear, and we're going to start by bringing that elbow in and then rotating towards the left. And this time as we come down, we're going to thread all that left hand underneath the right and come to the floor. So again, twist to rotate, and then folding underneath. Lovely. This is a super common one that I like to do, usually in a tabletop position, but I've been exploring it quite a lot in child's pose recently, and I just like the variety, so I thought I'd share it with you guys today. Okay, last one. Okay, reset. Let's take right hand behind the head, bring the elbow in to tap, rotate, and then thread the needle coming down. Beautiful. Again, in this pose, what I notice quite a lot is a difference in my ability to rotate through one side compared to the other. The body is naturally full of imbalances because it is asymmetrical, so the imbalances are quite common. And if anything, it just gives me more awareness of myself, gives me more research into my body. All right, and then bring it back to the middle. Roll it forwards. Let's come into a tabletop now and look at some spinal articulations. So these are slightly different to cat-cow because I want the focus to be really slow, controlled, and we're going to be coming from a flexed position to an extended position, aiming to go one vertebrae at a time, always starting at the base of my spine. So, if I begin in extension, so with my belly button down to the ground, I'm going to start to move into the flexion, but from my tailbone, without moving anything else. So slowly, I start to curl in from the tailbone, trying to not rush and move higher up the vertebrae before I get there. And again, what you might notice is my head doesn't move right until the last moment. So really slowly come into flexion. Now really slowly, I'm going to move into extension, again moving with my tailbone. Keep pushing through my hands, keeping my head as it is, until that wave comes up to the top of my spine. Now there are multiple reasons why I love doing this. Number one, it teaches you so much awareness and control over the 4 parts of your spine. So your cervical spine, head and neck, your thoracic spine, collarbone to ribs, your lumbar spine, lower back region, and the coccyx and sacral region, so tailbone. So it teaches us awareness of each of those 4 parts. We can control it a bit more. And the reason why I tend to favor this over cat-cow is because with cat-cow we always find the same movement from only one portion or one part of the spine, always hinging from the same area. So the rest of the spine often goes without the benefit of the whole movement. But yeah. All right, slowly bring it back to neutral, and then just have a little wriggle side to side, creating some circles. Okay. So let's take it now into some Shinbox position. So bring yourself down to seated. I'm going to start with the legs out into a straddle shape. And then if you plant your heels onto the floor, hands behind, we're going to drop both of our knees down to the right hand side. Sorry, I had a coughing fit. For our shin box, we're aiming to have an equilateral triangle into the front leg with the back leg ever so slightly behind us, sort of mimicking that shape. So again, if I was to switch and roll to the other side, I would end up creating that same shape there. So let's just get familiar with the movement, taking the hands behind and just switching right to left, because we're going to add a layer onto this in a second. Beautiful. What you could also start to do is, as you switch, you could then fold into that front leg, release, switch, and fold. Okay. Now what we're going to explore in a second is coming from Shinbox into something called a Fisherman Squat. All right. So the next time both your knees come down to the right hand side, we're going to keep them there. Now to come into the Fisherman Squat, I'm going to bring my left leg, lift it up, scoop it forward. So I now plant it in front of my right shin. Use my hands, I'm going to push myself up. So I'm landing onto my left foot and onto my right shin. And I can lift the heel off the ground. I can again be quite fluid with this. But this is the idea of the Fisherman Squat. Then I release, return that leg, switch through the middle. Right leg travels forwards, and I roll into it. Beautiful. So it's bringing that back leg forwards, and then rolling into it, finding this squatting pattern. And it's a really nice one to just work on ankle, knee, and hip mobility. Beautiful. Okay, let's go one more time each side. And last one. Okay, bring it back to the middle and then release. Take yourself into straddle, hands to your hips, and just finding some circular movements. Again, as deep or as shallow as you like. And change direction. Okay. So next one we're going to come into are some gate position windmills or adductor windmills. You're going to do it without a weight, but it's really nice to do body weight. So bring yourself into tabletop. You're going to extend the right leg out to the side and then come all the way up, shoulders above hips. So from here, what we are going to do, we're going to rotate our chest, our torso, towards the right leg. From there, you're going to reach your left hand down to the ground, right arm comes above your head. Then push through the bottom arm, bring yourself back. So it's this rotation and extension down, and push to come up. When you're lifting yourself up and off the ground, try to minimize how much pressure you put through that bottom hand. So we're thinking about using the muscles either side of the torso and spine to help return back up. Now if you want, instead of the hand, you could come down onto your elbow. So slightly more range to explore. Okay, let's go one more. All right, and swap it over. So taking left leg out to the side. Again, pivot, rotate to the left, right hand down, and then switch. Finding the movement on this side, understanding it in your body, how it feels. Try not to push through that bottom hand, I definitely was. Nice. And then again, see maybe coming down towards elbow. Nice. Let's just go one more. Okay. knees together, hands down, flip into a squat, have a little wriggle, side to side. And then hands interlace them, pop them behind your head, chin to your chest, little neck stretch. Maybe rolling your neck side to side. And then let's finish with a ragdoll. So hands to the ground. You're going to lift your hips up, cradle your elbows, and rocking yourself side to side. Really try to encourage the head to relax, the chin down to your chest. So finding length in the whole spine. You can always put a pillow between your torso and your thighs. And then from there you can either slowly come all the way up to standing, or you can meet me back down into a squat to eventually seat. Cool. And that is today. I hope you enjoyed that short and sweet mobility video. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below. Any suggestions for future videos as well, give me a shout, and I will see you next time. Bye.